In our politics lead today, House Speaker Mike Johnson defended his decision to delay a vote calling for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files until after Congress's August recess. That delay comes despite bipartisan efforts to have everything released. Here is Speaker Johnson earlier today.
The president has said clearly, and he has now ordered his DOJ to do what it is we've all needed DOJ to do for years now, and that is to get everything released. So they're in the process of that. There's no purpose for Congress to push an administration to do something that they're already doing.
Now, to be clear, the Justice Department is only seeking the release of Epstein and Maxwell grand jury testimony, pertinent sections, which a judge has agreed to do. A judge has to agree to do. Despite what Speaker Johnson claimed, though, the Justice Department is not in the process of getting, quote, everything released. Even if that grand jury testimony does come to light, that information is really unlikely to include everything the FBI and the Justice Department know about Epstein, his autopsy, his financial transactions, his many, many friends who maybe took advantage of these girls. Leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Joining us now to discuss is Republican Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas. Congressman, it's really doubtful that this issue is going to go away in a month. Do you think it's a mistake not to have a full vote calling for the full Epstein files to be released, obviously with redactions of the victims' names and such?
Jake, thank you. I believe it's fair to say that virtually every member of Congress believes that there should be disclosure. Exactly what that disclosure is, how deep it goes, I think that the Department of Justice needs to be prepared to do it. I think that from all accounts I've seen, the Attorney General has that authority and responsibility, and I believe that they are winding their way to making a decision. If you want to get to whether it's today or tomorrow or September, I think it's not going to go away. I think that they're going to have to come up with a process whereby they will not only comply with normal people's viewpoint about what disclosure means, but release that and get it out. And it's better to do it quickly because none of us are for child exploitation, and that's exactly what this was.
So, as you note, the most important thing is justice for these victims of child exploitation, and also and young women who were of age but also coerced into sex trafficking. There's also obviously accountability for any of the predators. But then there's the political ramifications. And your colleague, Congressman Tom Massey of Kentucky, he warns that this could potentially hurt your party. Take a listen.
Well, you don't lose your base over one single thing, but he's eroding his base. More importantly, if we don't take the right side of this issue, it's going to cost us votes in the midterms. Why would they go vote? If they gave us the House, the Senate, and the White House, and the transparency and justice they were promised doesn't happen.
Do you agree, sir?
Well, what I would say in fairness to Mr. Massey is that almost all of my colleagues, Republican and Democrat, are for the release of this information. I think the next question is, how will that take place? Will there be hearings? Will there be a public release? There's going to have to be some real thinking about getting the right thing done. But no, I don't believe it's just a matter of Republicans are trying to block anything. I think it's a matter of how do you go about releasing this, and what is really the responsibility that we have to understand and to get this information. I think cooler heads can prevail and will.
Let's go to Texas, your home state. The Texas state legislature is having their special session. One of the top items on the agenda is to address flooding preparedness following that horrible, deadly July 4th incident in central Texas, the floods that killed at least 135 people, dozens of them children. What steps would you like to see taken by Texas government, the Texas government, to prevent a tragedy like this from happening again?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think the important thing is that the Governor Abbott and the legislature is doing this, and that is that they're going to go on site out to Kerrville. They're going to walk through and do the things that some of us have done, but they're going to talk specifically to the decision makers about the errors that took place or the omissions, what was not known, what needed to be known. And the state of Texas and Kerr County have the authority and the responsibility to do this. First of all, the governor has money that he could decide he will help in this endeavor, but it needs to be a hearing that's fully vetted, that's open to the public, where people know what the decision is. I think they're doing that right now.
The Texas state legislature is also considering redrawing your congressional maps to boot out as many as 5 House Democrats and give House Republicans 5 more seats. Sources tell CNN Democrats are plotting retaliatory redistricting efforts in California, Washington State, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York. Do you worry at all that this is just going to become a free-for-all where there are no independent commissions that make congressional seats? I mean, where does this end?
Well, in fact, there is a discussion there about these independent commissions. It's about 90% to 10 in California right now that the independent commission decided on. Texas has seen where there, and no one's disputing it, a huge rise in the amount of people who see economic freedom and development through the crystal of who they elect. And the Texas economy, the Texas people of Texas want and need jobs and more jobs. And so we believe that it is matching up with what people would want, and that is people who would come to Washington and vote for the stability of the economy and less spending.
So you're in favor of these redistricting efforts that allow whichever party controls the state to basically the politicians pick their voters instead of the other way around?
Well, what I have said and what I believe in, that is the federal law. Supreme Court has indicated that a state decides those options. But when a state does choose those options, they cannot make decisions that would hinder or put someone in a diminished position. But I think that this last vote, as it went across the entire country in many Democrat areas, it went wildly in favor of Republicans or President Trump. So I believe that we can sustain what we're doing for the right reasons. And it is about control of the House of Representatives, but it is about Texas having the choice of what direction they'd like to go, and that is more jobs, less spending, and a brighter future.
Republican Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas, thank you so much, sir. Today, President Trump